Hello, I'm Dan from EPX Technical Services, and here are some surprising ways that bad IT infrastructure can damage your business. I'm mainly going to give you some case studies from my past. The general gist of this entire story, though, is you need to make sure don't sweat the assets and keep ancient equipment. Make sure that you're checking proactively the equipment that you do have, and make sure your tech team are reactively monitoring stuff. But here are some ways that we've had customers in trouble in the past. One example, customer had a device called a network switch. Most businesses have this. They are the devices that sit in your server room holding the whole network together. They create the network. It was old, fan got clogged up with dust, it overheated, it didn't blow up or anything like that, it just went real slow. And in going really slow, all of the computers suddenly started experiencing problems. And because switches are inherently pretty reliable devices, the switch did not get checked for quite a few hours. Everyone went to the server first, started checking on applications, rebooting it, causing some outages. You ended up with problems like that. And that's one piece of network equipment, the core of everything, that damaged things. Another such example, for security, you want to make sure that your IT do not enable every single network socket in a building. I'm currently talking to you from a business center in Shrewsbury, and I can see 2 network sockets on the wall there, 2 network sockets on the wall there. I am pretty confident that were I to plug in my laptop, one of those sockets would be live, would be active. I can tell you 2 ways that would be. Firstly, I may now have access to the corporate network. I may have access to the network where I can see what other people in this business center are doing. That's a security risk. And the other, well, this happens sometimes just by good intentions and accidents. If 2 sockets were live, did you know if you connected one socket to the other, you could cause, I believe it's called a broadcast storm, or I haven't heard that term used since the early 2000s. Essentially, if you plug one socket into another, the network grinds to a halt if it hasn't been set up correctly. There are ways to mitigate that, absolutely. There are ways to mitigate all of these things. Don't have live network sockets where you don't need them. If you absolutely must have a phone connected to a network socket or a CCTV camera connected to a network socket in an unmonitored area, you can lock that socket down so only those devices can talk to it. Because I tell you what, if I was breaking into your network, the first thing I would do is plug my own device into any random network socket that I found, just to see if that would let me in. Another way, computer systems themselves. This will not surprise you whatsoever. The computer system running slowly will usually only affect that end user. And you say, oh, it's all right. It's only Bob in shipping. Bob in shipping doesn't use his computer very much. Yeah, that's bad for many, many reasons. Number one is just because one person doesn't use their computer very much doesn't mean they can't slow the network down for everybody. Sometimes, I'm afraid, one piece of bad equipment can slow down all the other pieces of equipment, irrespective of whether Bob comes to work very often or not. And the other method is the one you've probably come to expect, which is security. There are plenty of ways that an older computer system that isn't monitored very much can cause damage. The fallacy of this user doesn't use their machine very much, so we don't need to cover them, that is dangerous, that's deadly. Because the computers that are the most vulnerable are the ones that don't get used very much. They're the ones that sit there on a shelf gathering dust, not getting Windows updates installed. Oh, no need to bother with antivirus for that. No one uses it. Makes me shudder. Shocking. Other areas are your server cabinets. I would hope that you have an annual tidy up of your server cabinet. People need to patch things in and wire equipment in neatly. That's just to be expected. But if you're expecting it to always be neat, you are just asking to be deceived. Network cabinets end up a mess after a period of time. You should schedule some time to clean and tidy them out. Because if one little thing breaks and a techie opens up this network cabinet to find a spider's web of mayhem, it means fixing any problem takes far, far longer. And if you have to trace a cable through a server cabinet to replace a faulty thing, you're running the risk of accidentally knocking something else out. Imagine you knock out something that affects all the printers in the warehouse and you can no longer ship goods, for example. Tidy the network cabinet. And also, old data cabling. Old data cabling ain't too bad, but sockets get damaged over time. And damaged sockets on your network, they can cause trouble by breaking things. You might short out a network switch. You might plug a computer in and the socket falls out. I mean, it could just happen to be that that socket was the only one in that office and you really, really needed that employee to start working today. This is just general IT housekeeping. Keep your infrastructure clean and tidy, monitor it proactively, and make sure you've got tools in place that will alert you or your team if something goes wrong.